Hey guys, Jason here. I am reaching out to you guys to do a quick talk about your metabolism and how our approach is actually here to speed it up. So, first off, most people have the notion, the idea that the less you eat, the more weight you're going to lose. The question you have to ask yourself is to what point are you starving yourself? And then at what point then are you instigating all your survival mechanisms? So slowing down your metabolism, going to a point to where your body is going to start eating itself to survive. Well, for fat loss, for muscle gain, performance gain, body comp adjustment, we have to usually speed up your metabolism in order to make fat loss happen, performance increases happen, muscle gain. So we usually try to adjust our meal plans to match that. Now, how do we have we have to figure out some kind of baseline. So how do we figure that out? Well, one thing we do is we first off need to figure out what your TDEE is. It's your total daily energy expenditure. Now, everybody's is different based on height, weight, age, what your activities are, what your typical routine might be. Not just your workouts, but how is your normal day? Are you sitting at a desk? Do you work in a farm? Are you doing manual labor? So those things play into how many calories a day you burn. Now, calories can be anything from you just your basic bodily functions to all your activities. Now, one thing you can typically do is know that as soon as we start to increase your fuel, your metabolism will also increase. And you're probably thinking to yourself, well, Jason, man, I've been overeating all my life and I've gained so much weight. That's true. And we're going to back up because what we want to do is think about your activity levels also. So if we increase your activity level, we should also probably increase your intake by comparison on what you're doing. So your body doesn't have to worry about being starved and then slowing it down its metabolism. So if we give your body more fuel, more high octane fuel, your metabolism is free to expand and burn more fuel. So with increased fuel, getting closer to your TD numbers, which is what you burn on the day, including all activities and being at rest, we want to make sure that if we're in a weight loss category, that we're not too far below that. For us, the magic number is about 20% max. So if we know what your TD is, TDEE, if we know what that is, then we don't want to be half of that number. That's too big of a cut, and it's going to instigate those survival mechanisms that we talked about where you won't be able to burn fat. Your body's going to probably chew off more muscle, and you're going to work out harder and eat less, and work out harder and eat less, and go back into that same cycle. So what our typical goal is for most people is we find what your TDE is, and in the first 6 to 8, even 12 weeks based on the individual, we try to push you as close to that number as we can. We reverse diet you, we get your body to expand its metabolism by taking in more fuel. So you're going to also think to yourself, well, my goal is to lose weight. Why are you pushing my food up? Because when we push your food up, we give you the right to start losing body fat. So in order to start losing weight, most people need to earn that right to lose the weight, start losing fat. And the best way to burn body fat is by increasing muscle tissue. It doesn't mean that you're going to get bulky. The number one questions we always get is, well, you increase my protein or you increase my carbs, I'm going to get bulky. That's just my nature. I'd say probably never have I really actually ever seen that happen. Most people get a mental sense of, oh man, I've taken in more food, I've gained more weight. And to be honest with you, yeah, the first week or two, you will probably gain some weight if we increase your food from what you've been doing. So if you've been starving yourself at the typical 1,200 calories a day, for most ladies will come to us with 1,200 calories. Most guys will think, I'm about 2,000, 1,800 a day. Also, based on the individual is kind of what numbers we get on that. But also, if you've never tracked before, there's no way for us to really know. So we have to go based on some kind of baseline. So we figure out that TDEE, and then we get you within as close to that range as we can. And we may start you off way below and build you up over the course of a few weeks. And the reason why we do that slow adjustment is so you can adapt to the new food. Your metabolism has time to adapt to it. And then what you may notice is as we increase your food, you also go at the end of the day, I'm getting more hungry. Because as we increase your food and we increase your activity, your body's starting to realize that I need more fuel because I'm burning faster. So those are some of the things you may get if you're on one of our challenges, or if you're just doing one of our regular normal one-on-one programs, is that the weekly adjustments are almost necessary for you to continue that progress. And for those who have done the program with our approach, you're probably going to be in agreement that that's what happens, that you kind of crave more food. Now, we can only hold that increase for such a long period of time before we want to start losing body fat. We want to shed down. And like I said a minute ago, we want to earn that right to start losing body fat. So if we've got you to a point when you're at your maintenance level, which means that you're taking in what you burn, you're not going to go up or down from there. If you take in what you burn, your weight should essentially stay the same. And then let's say we go from that to a slight decrease. And we start pulling you back 5, 10, 15, 20%. Well, if your body is used to having what you burn, and then we go to a slight deficit with the right macro balance, your body has no choice but to start dropping body fat. Now, during that time, we would never expect you to start seeing new increases in your fitness, new increases in your weight lifts, or if you're a runner, you probably won't see a lot of brand new things happening, but you will probably be able to maintain what you've been doing because your body will adjust accordingly. It's not afraid of going into survival, so you're not going to start slowing down your fat metabolism to start burning muscle instead. So to kind of review slightly on the basics of what we're doing, we assess and attain your TDEE, your total daily energy expenditure, and we want to bring you up to that as much as we can. Now, for the rare circumstances, we have people who we work with that are overeating their TDEE. We will bring them down to that same number or slightly below. We won't ever take you down to a 50% deficit of what you burn. If you are, most people who start off with us are closer to that. They're eating about half of kind of what their body burns. So we kind of bring them up between those two numbers typically. And you're okay, you're normal if your normal reaction is to say, if I take in that much food, I'm going to gain weight. And going back to the other thing we said prior was initially the first 2 weeks, you will probably gain another pound or two. And the reason being is if we take in more food, we also probably are taking in more water. And with those two combined, you're going to gain a little bit of extra weight. It's to be expected. So I would say anywhere from 1 to 3, possibly a 4-pound increase the first 7 days has been seen, but usually it's 1 to 2. You may feel slightly bloated because you're probably having more water, you're retaining more water as your body's digesting the extra carbohydrates. We're going to get your fat under control. We want to get your lean protein sources selected out, and then we'll go from there. Soon after your body begins to adjust, you'll probably start noticing that initial weight gain to start buffering down back to where you began. And when you see that, it's a good indicator that you're probably adapting. Now, over the weeks to come, if we continue to increase you, but your body weight stays the same, that's another good thing because we're increasing your food without seeing an additional weight gain. What you'll probably notice at that time is increased energy, increased fitness and performance, just more ability to be out there and be active throughout the daytime. So metabolism is going to be dialed into you specifically based on your activity, your body type, male, female, and your height and weight. So then from there, we can always adjust based on your fitness goals. So in short, I hope that answers some of your questions about our approach, how it affects your metabolism, and we'll see you soon.